Hey guys, welcome back. It's Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
Welcome to the House of Sickness. Everybody's
now we're
sick.
both sick. Yeah. No, I'm actually getting better and you're just starting.
Yeah, I actually don't feel that bad. My voice is a bit froggy, so if it grates when you're listening to me, I apologize.
Yeah, I said the other day I sound worse than I am. I think that's where you're at.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get better here, but we had some news that couldn't wait.
Oh, yes. All the reviews are out for the new She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, which is coming on the 26th.
She-Ra and the Princesses of Power on Netflix Season 2. The review embargo must be lifted because there are 3 or 4 news outlets.
It's all coming up today.
Yeah, so it's all coming up She-Ra.
It's all coming up She-Ra, oh God.
Okay, so this is from Decider, which I think covers mostly streaming services like Hulu and Netflix. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power is funnier, queerer, and better than ever in season 2.
I'm just going to point out that one of the talking points I think they're given to talk about is queerer, because it shows up on articles over and over again, is the queerer. Do we mention it's queerer? Guess what? It's queerer than ever.
I think, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with having LGBTQ representation in a show. But when you take an existing show and you change it so much, and your main talking point is look how
queer we made it.
Look how queer we made it.
That is their main talking point.
That's not, make something new.
It's a fanfic. I'm sorry, because as Noelle Stevenson has pointed out numerous times, she really pushed it in this because she herself is LGBTQ, which is fine. And I guess my thing is, if I guess I have more appreciation for somebody who could write something that's not themselves than when they just make it themselves, which is what they did.
Yeah, it's basically, and this is what we've said before, and there are people out there are people who watch our channel who actually really like She-Ra, and that's totally fine. But from where we're sitting, it just looks like a Tumblr fanfic, and again,
you're allowed to like it. We always say you're allowed to like it. You're allowed not to like it. We will not treat you any differently because you like it. You're allowed to like it. We just don't.
Right. And our big sticking point, even beyond the show itself, is the treatment, I think, of
the fans.
The treatment of the fans and the treatment of the original staff on the Filmation show.
That is our big problem with
it. We have a huge issue with, because there's no respect for what has gone before. Just mocking.
Yeah, lack of respect is, I think, sums up a lot of what we have problems with. Anyway,
I feel like I have to every time we talk about She-Ra, I feel like we have to justify it, because we're always going to get people in there like, why are y'all just a bunch of haters?
It's like we're not. We just don't like She-Ra, which we're allowed to not like it.
Yeah,
so I guess I'll do more reading than you, because my voice is better today. So this is great, guys. You'll love this. It's fitting that a show so explicit about our complicated journeys to self-acceptance would be comfortable reinventing itself. In its second season, She-Ra and the Princesses of Power leans even further away from the iconic 80s series on which it was originally based. It was originally based on the 80s series, and it is in name only, because it is nothing like the original series. Noelle Stevenson's Netflix cartoon has finally become its own distinct story, one that is unapologetically one of the funniest, arguable, warmest, and most LGBT inclusive series on television. Well, I would agree with that, because that's what their goal is. Their goal isn't to be funny and warm and to pay homage to a good show. Their goal is to be the most inclusive show on television. That is their goal. We're mincing words. That's pretty much true.
No, and
she said so.
Right, which is fine. It's just that, you're again, when you're taking existing property and you have something like Steven Universe that was very inclusive, right? But it was its own thing. So I don't put a show like Steven Universe. I don't hold it up to the same.
They tie them together.
Yeah, I don't hold it up to the same level as She-Ra, because She-Ra is based on an existing property. Steven Universe, it is what it is. It was created as a new thing. But when you take an existing property like this and turn it into something it was not,
Okay, well, it gets better. Hold on. The evolution of the She-Ra from season 1 to season 2 feels quite a bit like Adora and her own rocky acceptance of her superpowered princess alter ego She-Ra. Just as Adora started her journey bound by her past loyalties to the nefarious Horde, they're not very nefarious, I'm sorry.
Like
they made them really pussy. Anyway, She-Ra premiered in a pop culture climate obsessed with comparing the series to its predecessor. Again, when you have an effing show that is named the same and it's going to be your show you're bringing back, it comes with a fan base, okay? That's established. The only reason it got brought back again was because the fans have kept it alive all this time. So you have an existing fan base. So of course your existing fans are going to expect it to be similar to the first show. And when you go and completely change everything about it and then piss on the fandom for not liking every change you make, you're going to have a problem with your fans. Obsessing. Oh my God.
Why do people, again, look, We already told you what the problem was with the marketing last season.
And you're already starting
And you're already starting it. Here we go again. And have they mentioned Larry DiTillio's death at all? I don't think
so, no.
But, yeah, you want the platform. You want the built-in audience.
You want the ass-kissing and recognition. Someone basks in the glory every time they're on a panel. It's so funny to watch. Anyway.
Yeah, but then they don't want, everything that comes with it, which are the expectations, the expectations come with it. So.
When you have any kind of fandom that's already bound to something, you cannot expect them all to like every change you make, nor should they have to, but you don't turn around and call them names. Just because someone doesn't like something does not automatically make them a misogynist, does not automatically make them a racist, homophobe, whatever you want to call them, because they don't agree with you. And the immature behavior out of the media and out of some of these creators that they feel like they have to call people names if you don't like what I do is pathetic. Be professional. And that's all I'm saying. Act professional. That you might see, people might be more accepting of what you do had your behavior been professional.
Yeah.
I'm giving that mostly to the media on this one because I think it's mostly the media who's been behaving this way. So anyway, by the time season 2 opens, both Adora and the series have shaken off the bindings of their past. I can't read from here, and become stronger for it. For Adora, that means slowly realizing that there's strength residing in her, in the love and loyalty she feels for her friends. And for She-Ra as a series, that means putting its universe-threatening stakes on hold to explore the greater strength of its show, the complicated relationships between its strong central characters. We're not going to focus on the main story and the action and everything She-Ra's about. We're going to focus on relationships.
Because that's all the show is. I mean, this is a Tumblr cartoon for Tumblr readers. This is a webcomic, a Tumblr webcomic, animated. It's a fanfic.
It is.
It's a fanfic.
We're going to focus on our complicated relationships. That's a fairly monumental change from the She-Ra's Battle of the Week first season, which is what made it good. No, this review is based on the first 7 episodes of season 2 that provided to the critics. So literally,
there are only 7
Keep
episodes.
that in mind. There's 7 episodes in this season. That is important here in a moment. 7 episodes. Okay. Don't worry. The ongoing war between the horde-infested Fright Zone with a couple horde officers,
it's like 5 teenagers,
and the princesses fighting for freedom, led by She-Ra, is there and is still very much a focus of She-Ra's second season. How? Okay, because you'll see how. But more than that, season 2 revolves around the little moments that happen during the gaps in battle. There are 7 episodes. So it's going to focus on the little moments. Charged confrontations between Adora and Catra are broken up by the episodes dedicated to training, planning attacks, or just biding time.
Filler.
In 7 episodes.
Oh my god, so it's just all filler?
But don't worry, this is so much better than the Battle of the Week first season that actually had your attention, you cared. As testimony to how much the show respects its characters, these action-free sketches are often the show's most interesting.
The action-free stretches. Oh my god.
Stretches. I said stretches. I meant sketches. Yeah. It's 7 episodes. I can't read today either. I think your lack of being able to read is rubbed off on me.
I'm sorry. My illiteracy is contagious.
Apparently. Well, my cold was.
So what we're saying is there's a bunch of filler.
In 7 episodes.
In 7 episodes. That's not a good... God.
So it's during these intimate moments that She-Ra shows just how important Adora's new best friend Glimmer and Bo are. Best friend squad! It's where Catra's evolution from a scorned former friend to something more tender and confused takes place.
Oh my god.
You can't just be bad for the sake of being bad. No. It's because you're misunderstood.
Something more tender and confused.
Everyone's just a good guy at heart. They just don't know it yet. This is like the MO for all these new shows. As she searches, so all the bad guys in the world are not bad. They have a tender heart. They just don't know. They have a tender heart. They just don't know that they're not bad.
Okay, you want to compare, and we talked about this before. We talked about very, very far left people, and compared that to religion. And it does remind me of how in some religions every person is a prospective convert. Like you look at the person as well, they'd be fine if they just, adhered to our religion.
Well, here's my next thing. If everybody's just a good person at heart and they just don't know it yet, why do they go around calling people names like misogynist, racist, homophobe, alt-right, Nazi?
Shame them into...
Because they're just good people at heart. Everyone's a good person at heart. There's no evil in the world.
Even Hordak's a good person.
There's no evil in the world. These terrorists that do things and that, they're not evil. They're just misunderstood, according to these people. You can't just be evil for being evil. There's got to be a reason.
Everybody can be hugged into submission.
That's right. So Catra's evolution from a scorn from her friend to something more tender and confused takes place as she searches for her own makeshift home between horde-aligned Princess Scorpia and Entrapta. And She-Ra at its best, at its softest, simplest moments. You associate soft and simple with She-Ra. Now, I thought She-Ra, was a strong female character, but wasn't actually strong. It was just there to be, fodder for men to fap to. But now She-Ra is soft and simple. Well,
soft
which one
and
is
simple?
I mean, while it's the new season is more comfortable leaning into its softer impulses, that doesn't mean it's ever meek. Well, make up your mind. You keep fluctuating on this. If anything, this is a season defined by surprising strength. You just got done saying soft and simple, and now it's surprising strength and self-assurance. Pick what it is. If She-Ra season 1 featured characters who can be read as queer, season 2 is blissfully, almost unapologetically gay. Nope. Yeah, that's what it's going for this whole time. Not to give too much away, but one relationship that emerges feels as clear as when Steven Universe first reveals Garnet as a fusion. So this is what it's about, guys, at the heart of it, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind, but don't take it clearly. You make your own thing then. Don't take something that's already defined and developed and then, just change it all to be what you want it to be. It is a fib. It is Noelle Stevenson's fanfic about herself.
Yeah, this is for Tumblr.
I would be more impressed if she wrote characters that weren't herself, because that's harder. Though it's not explicitly stated that the essential same-sex relationship is romantic, She-Ra does everything else in its power to make it clear that's what's happening, while developing this budding romance with so much grace. It puts most of television's countless hetero couples to shame. Oh my God!
Whoa, that's not overselling it.
No.
It puts most of television's hetero couples to shame. This cartoon show.
And that's not even getting into the explicitly gay couple introduced about halfway through the season. What, Bo's two dads, I'm guessing.
So they're not talking about the quality of the show all that much. They're basically talking about how LGBTQ friendly the show is.
That's what they're going on about. And it's not about action. I mean, it is, but it's not.
If you distill this down, they basically said it's boring, but it's really gay. But it's also boring. But it's gay.
It's very gay. That's okay. No, it's not boring. It's all about character development and friendships and relationships. This whole show is no longer about She-Ra, which was...
It's a ship fest.
It's a ship show.
It's a ship show.
It's a ship show. It's not even about She-Ra and the characters and the battle and with the lessons about, which always had lessons and morals to it about friendship and strength. It's about relationships.
And those small, tiny moments where your budding relationships
and don't you
make your buds tingle.
Make your buds tingle in the ship show.
That's what this show's for.
And then, and it's like, what we've seen for clips, it's all about She-Ra or Dora not being able to control her shield that turns into things for random for no particular reason. Because again, this well-trained soldier cannot control anything because she's inept and an idiot. But,
But she's tender.
And her moments
buds.
of Catra make it... No, she can't have tingling buds. That's not allowed.
Okay.
They took the buds away.
They did take her buds away.
They took the buds away because that means that she's too pretty. See, I just love this. You can't have her being an adult that has a hot body because that's too, there's too many straight men who want to fap to her. But now that she's underage and, lesbian, it's okay if they can, if people can get off to that.
Because clearly that's, the purpose of the show, right?
So there's the Decider article.
Not to have adventure.
But there's a couple other articles that aren't as but they aren't as
But they're just the headlines.
Ass.
Again, they
were given talking points.
Again, we're not talking about the quality of the show, and that's what's aggravating. Because again, it doesn't matter if the show's LGBTQ. It doesn't matter. Is the show any good? But when you lead with, it keeps
but it's queer. Whatever. I mean, just so you know, that's what the most important aspect of She-Ra is now.
Yeah, I mean, even when the media leads with that, because...
What's great about Steven Universe, we actually watched Steven Universe, was that they had that in that, but that wasn't the focus of the show. The show was actually focused on, Steven and adventures and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't like the main point of the show.
Well, as it progressed, it became
more and more.
But like how they sold the show, it wasn't, and it was actually pretty genius how they sold it. When it first started was basically this is a Sailor Moon type magical girl show, but isn't it funny that one of the magical girls is a little fat kid, little boy, with a bunch of other magical girls, and it wasn't like, as people watched it, they were like, oh,
yeah,
but
it wasn't like, did we mention?
Right.
Did we mention? And that's what it is now, and it's just like whatever. I mean, so anyway, this is Comics Beat, The Beat. So they have 5 months after the first season hit Netflix. She-Ra and the Princess of Power returns for season 2.
Season 1.5.
Well, they mentioned this. Season features 7 brand new episodes, and it says that feel as fresh and exciting as the first 13, though the shortened season does have its shortcomings. It feels more like the back half of the first season than its own story arc, which makes it feel somewhat rushed, even as it does spend significantly more time developing the characters and their relationships. God.
Well, okay, so that's the thing with Netflix. Like, a season on Netflix is not an actual season. They did this with Voltron, too, where, they'd have like 6 episodes and they'd call it a season.
I think they had like a 26 order, and then the episode was just like a 1 season, and they're breaking it up and saying, look, we got like 3 seasons out of this. No, it's 1 season. Anyway, they're going on about relationships again. Now, character development, I would like, they do mention that Frosta gets developed in this one, and I'd hope so, because they really didn't do much with Frosta.
Yeah.
But I do think it's funny, though, in other articles from last season, they went on about how one-dimensional and flat the characters of She-Ra were, and now they're making sure they bring it home, that we're just developing every character. Every character matters. Every character's important.
Except Adora and She-Ra.
That's not to say there isn't a through plot. Well, I'd hope so. Because there is. There's also some long-awaited payoff. God. However, these things didn't come to pass in the 13 episodes released last November. They do, however, make an appearance in these new episodes, albeit in totally unexpected ways. These characters went on significant life-changing journeys in Season 1. Their stories pick up right where they left off after the Battle of Bright Moon, which means we continue to see them grow. Did we mention grow? Grow. The characters have more backbone now, and they have more to lose, which, that would actually be a good thing, because then they have a reason. The Princess Alliance is still going strong. Seeing these young characters come together and enhance each other's power is chills-inducing. Oh my God.
Makes your buds tingle.
Especially when they're able to set aside their differences to win the fight.
Because they're going to win.
Like adults.
They're going to win in the end.
Wait, they're allowed to set aside their differences to win in the end, but when you don't like it, there's no setting aside your differences. It's just you're automatically called names. So if they have differences, why aren't they calling them, alt-right? Why aren't they calling them misogynists? Why aren't they calling them homophobes or whatever if they have differences? Because that's what you do when someone doesn't agree with you. You don't talk it out and make, and find a middle ground. No. You call them names. Yeah. So I'm surprised, because that's the MO for this show. Season 2 shows them strengthening their bonds and pushing harder than ever to win the war, which of course is complicated by characters like Entrapta. Blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Well, yeah, but Entrapta was a villain, and anybody who followed the original She-Ra,
right?
Entrapta was a villain.
Well, now she's just misunderstood.
What the hell
she's
is
autistic.
That with that Easter bunny? That's horrible.
Season 2 also seriously amps up the queer content. Again, Adora's obsession with Catra hasn't lessened, nor has Catra's obsession with Adora. Meanwhile, the queer subtext of their relationship has gotten so intense that any mention of their friendship is drenched in double meaning.
Oh my God.
And now, Scorpia has to reckon with her jealousy of Adora because she wants to solidify her relationship with Catra, because no one can just be friends. They all have to want to get with each other. Like I said, a ship show. It seems unlikely that any of the core characters will ever be made canonically queer, since she was a licensed property. But if we could just cross our fingers, maybe it'll happen someday.
I don't think it's... I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think Mattel still wants to sell dolls at some point.
Yes, so, Mattel, bring out dolls with brushable hair. And you know what? I would be happy to take a look at them first for you. If you want a true, honest opinion, I will gladly take your dolls. Send your dolls brushable hair to me.
And again, I just want to reiterate, because I know we're going to have idiots from Tumblr watching this video and being like...
But they won't even watch it. They'll just automatically make assumptions.
Make
they
a
do
comment,
that all the time.
Downvote, make a comment. Have no problem with LGBTQ themes in a show. Have no problem with LGBTQ characters in a show. None whatsoever. What we have a problem with is when you take an existing property with an existing fan base...
and existing characters that have existing things about them.
Right, and turn them into something they're not, with the express purpose of pushing...
agenda.
Romantic relationships. Like the original She-Ra had very little romance at all.
Right, it didn't. It was like about
action. It was an action and moral lessons.
It was about friendship.
Right, and very, very little. Like they even changed in the original show. In the comics, Bo was basically the boyfriend, but they changed him into her friend, and they had her get with Seahawk in like a handful of episodes. For the most part, there was no romance in the original She-Ra, so to make them, to have them take the show and turn it into one giant ship fest, is really disappointing. It's actually not progressive. It's actually kind of regressive.
It is. I mean, She-Ra itself was progressive. It is very regressive. It's turning it into every, it's like, that's what it's turning it into. And it's just, we don't need relationships. They can just be friends. Why have to have romantic relationships in this?
No,
they don't need it. It's ridiculous.
They're fighting a war. Like, who has time to get with who at this point?
Well, that's what I love about it. They keep saying about how, I saw an article talking about, the characters and stuff. And I'm like, I found the characters very, these characters wasn't about the war. It wasn't about these characters aren't believable. They're not realistic because they're talking about these characters who grew up in a war-torn realm. Adora and Catra are raised to be soldiers. The princesses and stuff, Glimmer's begging her mom to go to battle and is mad because her mom won't send her to battle. I wouldn't send her to battle either. She clearly is not equipped to handle battle when all she wants to do is go to princess prom, go to parties and have horsies and sleepovers. I mean, they are not equipped to deal with battle. It does not make realistic. They're not realistic in the sense of what is going on in the world around them. You're trying to put realistic characters that relate to kids now in a world that doesn't make sense in. And there's nothing realistic about this. So stop trying to push realism. It's not realistic. So they go on about season 2 goes to some unexpected places, bigger laughs, more tears, wildly created battle scenes. It said it ends on a cliffhanger. The future's uncertain. These kids' love for each other is as strong as anything. Because, that's what matters.
Well, here's the thing about the seasons, too. And they talk about how they break up the seasons. And really, it sounds to me like this was a 26-episode order.
Right.
Which is a standard full season for an animated series. And they're breaking it up into 3 parts. So they'll have 13 episodes, 7 episodes, and then 6 episodes, and call it 3 seasons. When it's not actually 3 seasons of a show.
It's 1 season.
Yeah.
So they said there are some pacing issues with season 2. One seemed to stretch past its natural conclusion in order to end on a big battle. It feels like it would have fit better with a new mini arc presented to us. She-Ra season 2. The thing is, if She-Ra were a network show, it would have been a mid-season break. Yep. Right. This is not. It's just 1 season. Since it's not, both seasons suffer, especially because season 2 doesn't really stand well on its own. On the other hand, it would make sense for She-Ra's sophomore season to heavily rely on the first season. Makes sense. Blah, blah, blah. It's 7 episodes. We're hearing 2 times about the pacing issues. We're hearing again about the fact that, it's 7 episodes, but it's all about these, training in the in-between moments in 7 episodes. So basically we're hearing that the most of the show is going to be more of the same. It is basically 1 season. Not everybody's happy with this is
She-Ra.
funny.
This is Newsarama, which usually is and I think this is a woman who did this. Usually is pretty pro She-Ra, and they're like season 2 delivers more princess power but less emotional resonance. I thought
everybody's going about there's more emotional resonance. Which is it?
We have other websites talking about all those bud-tingling personal moments, and here comes Newsarama. It has less emotional resonance. Well,
you're going to see a bunch of these articles pop up today because they apparently gave them to reviewers, and so you're going to start seeing the videos on YouTube and all this. We didn't get them, of course, because, the brave thing to do would have been to send it to us. You know what I mean? But they're not brave enough to do that.
Ironically, CLOWNFISH TV, our email does get announcements from Dreamworks. We don't get invited, obviously, to anything like this, but they do give us announcements for other shows, Trolls and stuff like that.
See, if it was me, and I had a news network or a place that tries to say, fair about things, I'd send it to them. I'd have the balls to send it to him, because if I was really, secure in my content, and I thought, and I actually wanted to change and try to mend fences, build bridges. I wouldn't let media tear people down for not liking it, first of all. And I would be like reaching out to these people like, hey, why don't you check out the second season and see what you think? But that would require, courage. Anyway, so She-Ra and the Princess of Power throws us back into the action as the princesses adjust to their new team dynamic, and Catra comfortably moves higher up the ranks. Lord, makes sense. Okay, that's right. The premiere does a fine job at pushing the other princesses to the forefront, but lacks any significant plot progression and the emotional resonance that made season 1 so memorable. Well, going to other places, it's all about emotion.
It's all about emotions.
Why do I feel like you have to have, your period to you have the PMS emotions to get into the show?
That's why it's not for me.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. This is a period piece, but it's a different kind of period piece.
It's a period piece. She-Ra is a period piece.
As a woman, I can speak. The strongest aspect of the premiere was learning more about Frosta as she navigates the boundaries of friendship. And it means for her dynamic with the team. Okay, I'm going to go and say I actually agree with them on focusing on Frosta, because I felt Frosta had no personality. last season. So I do agree with them on taking Frosta and building on Frost as a character. So I think that is a good move. I will give them props for that. That I will agree with on that, because I think that is a smart move, because Frosta really was underdeveloped. The character development of the supporting cast makes the world of She-Ra even bigger, and I hope that the series continues to explore the friendships and character arcs of the other princesses to help expand the stories of our main cast. Frost was a great foil to Glimmer. In this episode, we get to see witness that these two characters aren't too different. Again, I do agree with building on characters. I do think that's a good thing to do. I just think you can build up. The problem with some of these shows is if you build up every character, you get off the line of the plot.
Right.
You can't build up every character. You can give some information about characters, and you can, talk about different characters. But when you start focusing on the other characters too much, and you get outside the main, you start taking these side twists, and it makes that's when you run into pacing issues. That's when you run into people getting bored and tired, and they aren't so interested.
Yeah, it depends. You can do side stories, but usually, like, you look at the original He-Man and She-Ra series, they were way longer. They had 65 episodes. I think each of the shows. I'm not sure if the She-Ra had 65, but I know He-Man had 65. In 65 episodes, you have more time to breathe, and you can go do these little side stories with, like, Orko, or here's Orko's origin story, or something like that. It's really hard to do it when you're, like, up against the...
Right, when there are only 7 episodes. Yeah. It's not, you don't have enough time. They're talking about what's missing from the premiere was electrifying dynamic between Adora and Catra. What's missing was we didn't ship Adora and Catra so much in the first episode. They're talking about how the best moments were those two adjusting to their leadership role. My favorite sequence is when Adora is practicing with a magic sword and she struggles. She and Catra taunting her. She has Catra taunting her in her head. It shows how much she's under her skin.
She lives in her head rent free.
Apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, this love-hate thing, you have to build up the suspense. The premiere is less of an emotional punch compared to the first season, but in exchange ups the action. Well, this one's going about upping the action. Everything else was saying opposite.
Yeah, this is a complete 180. The other ones were like, oh, it's really boring, but there's more bud-tingling romance.
And now they're saying this one, it's less bud-tingling romance and more excitement. So it's interesting to see. I'm glad there's only 7 episodes. I'm actually able to watch it all this time. It gives her more time to explore the different objects her sword can convert to, which, again, she keeps blundering that up by what I've seen so far.
Yeah, and trained soldier.
Yeah.
Can't fight, can't do anything right.
It's a very short season with only 7 episodes, and the premiere doesn't make significant movement or strike any big emotional beats to reach its heights of the first season, but the episode does give a good glimpse at the bigger world that She-Ra and the Princess of Power can explore. Well, that'd be a nice change, a bigger world, because so far it seemed very, very small.
It does seem very small. It's very claustrophobic compared to the original. You look at the original, and there were like so many lands with so many people, and even the like when they introduced Hordak.
Diversity?
Yeah, diversity. But when they introduced Hordak in the original, like, he's got like freaking all kinds of spaceships and junk behind him on the like, it's very clear in the original show that the Horde is an intergalactic threat. They're basically the Empire, and there's like tons of ships and tons of robot soldiers, and this one's like the Horde is like 5 teenagers and a couple of tanks.
Yeah,
that's
it
the
is.
Horde.
And then they can steal the skiffs for joyrides and stuff like that because they're not guarded. It's just, bigger would be better, I guess, because in this case, because so far it seemed very, very, very small.
Yeah.
But honestly, what I'm getting from these articles is it's mostly about, relationships and friendships. Everybody's a good person, even if they don't know they're a good person yet. The world is very small. And now they're trying to make it bigger because they understand it's a problem. And, it's not even about war anymore. The big war and the big battle that's the really important part of She-Ra isn't important anymore. It's what, their friendships. And, how they hang out, how they play games, how they train, how they, how they get together is more important.
How they ship.
It's how they ship.
Shipping is the most important thing about new She-Ra,
So there you have it, guys. Like it or not, it's coming. The 26th of April. Again, it's only about half.
I was going to say it's going up against Endgame.
It is. I thought that was interesting.
Which is going to get more views? Do you think?
Well, the difference is you can watch this anytime.
Well, that's true.
But it's about half the size of last season, which is, good because I thought last season was way too long and it was very boring. So we'll see what happens. Again, if you like it, that's cool. You're allowed to like it. If you don't like it, you're allowed to like it. There's nothing wrong with you either way. And I hope the media finally stops the shit fest they keep doing.
Yeah, it seems like Newsarama is pretty balanced. I think this seems to be a pretty balanced take on it.
Yeah.
So,
All right, there you have it.
All right, so we're going to wrap this one up. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry about my voice again.
Me too.
And we will talk to you guys later. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, rants, gaming videos, art videos, and more here on CLOWNFISH TV.
Yep, bye.
Bye. Hey guys, thanks for watching CLOWNFISH TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.